So Caitlin didn't wear 22 when she was a kid. She's not going to be wearing 22 now. And it's one of those things where it was just obvious. But now at least Caitlin Clark talked about it herself, because people still, to this day, were telling me I was wrong and the Team USA had it out for Caitlin by telling her she couldn't wear 22. Let's take a listen.
Picture with Cameron Brink rocking number 17.
I know.
Where'd the 1-7 come? Was that just a jersey that you get?
But
I was about to say, for these practices, they kind of
17's
just
not
hand
the
you
best
over.
number ever. I wouldn't have picked that.
But check her expression when she declares 17 isn't the ultimate number. I wouldn't have chosen that either. That look isn't merely disappointment. It's the weight of months spent navigating conspiracy theories about her Team USA experience. Meanwhile, the story behind why Caitlin Clark wore 17 at Team USA camp exposes a detail about international basketball that most fans have totally misread.
That have been on the national team prior get to continue wearing their jersey, like that practice number jersey or their jersey, obviously until they're done playing on the Olympic team or whatever happens for the next Olympics. And then all us newcomers, there's a lot of young people at that camp. We just get assigned a random number. I guess I got 17. Nobody asked me, but it was fine.
And they also made sure to not give anyone their actual number. They made sure to not give anyone 22. They didn't give Citron 22. They didn't give 22 to Caitlin. They didn't give Paige 5. Obviously, or Angel 5. They didn't give any.
Here's what really went down. Team USA follows a long-standing tradition where players who make the Olympic roster keep their practice jersey numbers permanently. Veterans like Breanna Stewart and Aya Wilson already claimed theirs, so all newcomers are assigned whatever numbers remain. No exceptions, not for LeBron, Diana Taurasi, or Caitlin Clark. Yet during the July 2024 training camp, social media spun a very different story. Fans insisted Team USA intentionally handed Clark number 17 as a slight, claiming the Federation was disrespecting her by denying number 22. Some even speculated this snub explained why she didn't make the Olympic team, suggesting they gave her an easy out by withholding her preferred number.
Yeah, I would say 17 is not a but. 17 used to literally be banned in FIBA. You were not allowed wear number 17, 18, or 16 through 19. Every other number was fine. These referees, the sign was 2-1 for 21, 2-2, 22, 2-3, 23. But the signs, the actual signs for 16, 17, and 18 for referees. 15 obviously was that. I'm pretty sure it's this, as a former ref, it's this, that. For
Notice how she points out that number 17 was actually off limits for the Indiana Fever at one point. Numbers 16 through 19 were prohibited because they clashed with referee hand signals. That's how precise jersey rules can get in basketball, yet some fans still convince themselves Team USA's numbering choices were personal. In reality, Team USA follows the old FIBA system, limiting jerseys to numbers 4 through 15. France abandoned this rule about a decade ago, but the US kept it as a tradition. It's not about any individual player, it's purely about maintaining consistency.
International teams in the past, we have like a bag tag, like a sticker on your backpack, and it says all the players that have worn your jersey. So it'd be
so dope.
If you're number 6, it'd be LeBron. I think he was number 6, or and then you'd have the women's players and obviously all the men's players, which is really cool. You get to see who kind of has worn your jersey.
This is the key detail that should have shut down the debate instantly. Team USA provides every newcomer with a bag tag listing everyone who has ever worn that number. LeBron had 6. Kobe cycled through several, and the focus is always on legacy and history, not making anyone feel excluded. Caitlin experienced this tradition firsthand while playing on junior national teams, so she knew it wasn't personal. Yet despite that, thousands of fans spun a completely imaginary story about Team USA politics.
I really don't think they're going to change it for Caitlin. I really don't. I reckon my assumption is that they would be more likely to change the rule for Asia than for Caitlin. But you just never know. They might. They might. I doubt it. But you just never know. You never, ever know.
Here's where it gets intriguing. She explains that international basketball once required numbers 4 through 15, though most countries dropped the rule years ago. Team USA, however, opted to maintain it. The key word is chose. This is tradition, not a strict regulation, and they could alter it at any time. That raises the question, would Team USA ever bend this tradition for Caitlin Clark? Specifically, if she makes the 2028 Olympic team, would they allow her to wear 22? The answer is almost certainly no, and here's the reasoning.
That's why Team USA have for tradition. That actually, I didn't even realize that. That's actually why they did for tradition. But that makes a lot of sense now. That makes a lot of sense. That makes way too much sense. But yeah, it is what it is, I guess. It is what it is. And that's why Caitlin Clark is obviously not wearing she's obviously not wearing the number 22, and I don't think she will probably ever wear number 22 for Team USA, and unless they change the rule. And will they change the rule for Caitlin? I doubt it. I really doubt it.
Notice how casually he talks about Team USA potentially changing their rules. He suggests they'd probably make an exception for Aya Wilson before Caitlin Clark. That's not a dig at Clark. It's just how USA basketball operates. Wilson has already earned Olympic gold and proven herself on that stage, so seniority carries weight. But there's a bigger factor most people overlook. USA basketball is the only national program that actively has to incentivize participation. International stars like Nikola Jokic prioritize Serbia, Luka Doncic plays for Slovenia, and for most players representing their country is the pinnacle of basketball achievement, more meaningful than any professional title. In contrast, American athletes often value WNBA championships over Olympic gold. While an Olympic roster spot is prestigious, it's not the ultimate goal, which forces USA basketball to make the experience appealing enough that players willingly choose to join rather than resting during the offseason.
You see Jokic wants to play for Serbia most of the time. Luka wants to play for Slovenia. Most of these international players would rather play for their country than play for their club. Whereas in America, it's the opposite. The NBA ring or WNBA ring means more. Whereas if Luka Doncic wins an Olympics, dude might retire. He literally might just say, you know what? I'm done with this sport. I'm done with playing in America. I'm going back to play at Real Madrid. I'm going back to play in Europe. And by the way, like I can see when it's all said and done, Luka Doncic and Nikola Jokic leaving the NBA really early.
The comparison to European players is key. He's correct that someone like Jokic or Doncic might leave the NBA if a career-threatening injury occurred, returning to their home clubs to finish their careers where it began. Their national team identity comes first, NBA affiliation second. American players operate differently, prioritizing professional leagues over national representation. This isn't criticism, it's simply a different basketball culture, but it forces USA basketball to handle traditions and protocols carefully. They can't bend rules for individual players, even stars, without setting a precedent that could compromise the system. What makes this whole controversy so ridiculous is that Caitlin Clark never objected to wearing number 17. She understood the tradition immediately and knew the rules before stepping into camp. The only people who truly had an issue with it were fans who didn't grasp how Team USA operates. Yet those fans spun a narrative that lingered for months. Even after Clark explained the numbering system in interviews, people insisted it was a slight, eager to believe USA basketball was mistreating her because it fit their preconceived notions about the WNBA undervaluing her. The reality tells a different story. Team USA invited her to training camp as a 22-year-old rookie, an extraordinary honor most players don't receive until proving themselves over several WNBA seasons. The jersey number situation highlights how fans consume the sport. They see Clark in 17 instead of 22 and jump to the worst conclusion, ignoring the rules and historical context. Every choice she makes is dissected for hidden meaning, and every coaching decision is interpreted as bias, when sometimes a number is just a number assigned by long-standing tradition applied equally to all. Ironically, this manufactured controversy makes her job harder, forcing her to explain basic rules instead of focusing on basketball, navigating drama that doesn't exist. Will Team USA ever change the numbering tradition? Possibly, but not due to social media complaints. It would only shift if the organization decides the system no longer serves its purpose, and any change would apply equally to all players. Clark herself seems perfectly content with the current rules, appreciating the history and legacy she's part of. The debate exists solely in the minds of fans trying to defend her unnecessarily, exposing the gap between casual observers and those who truly understand basketball culture. International basketball rules differ from the WNBA or college, not arbitrarily, but due to decades of tradition and respecting that history is part of representing your country. So when you see Clark wearing 17 for Team USA, it signifies her inclusion in a legacy of American greats, following the path of legends and earning her spot through performance, not special treatment or exceptions. The jersey number controversy was never real. It was entirely fan-manufactured, and Clark herself clarified the tradition without complaint. The only remaining question is whether fans will finally accept the explanation or continue inventing drama where none exists. Notice how casually he talks about Team USA potentially changing their rules. He suggests they'd probably make an exception for Aya Wilson before Caitlin Clark. That's not a dig at Clark. It's just how USA basketball operates. Wilson has already earned Olympic gold and proven herself on that stage, so seniority carries weight. But there's a bigger factor most people overlook. USA basketball is the only national program that actively has to incentivize participation. International stars like Nikola Jokic prioritize Serbia, Luka Doncic plays for Slovenia, and for most players representing their country is the pinnacle of basketball achievement, more meaningful than any professional title. In contrast, American athletes often value WNBA championships over Olympic gold. While an Olympic roster spot is prestigious, it's not the ultimate goal, which forces USA basketball to make the experience appealing enough that players willingly choose to join rather than resting during the off-season.